The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com.
Here we are.
Episode 81.
Episode 81.
Trucking right along.
Trucking right along. Is that the name of the episode?
Trucking right along. Yeah. So what's going on?
Well, just kidding. No, it's going good. I just got back from vacation. Everything is going pretty good.
Yeah. How was that?
It was good. It was good. Spent a week, basically like a week down in Carlsbad at a nice resort. Took my mother-in-law on vacation. Did beach stuff. Did not beach stuff. I went to a cool show in San Diego. Glass Bells, wearing their T-shirt right now, and that was fun. I'll give you the skinny on all that stuff. It would start off good because I finally went to the chiropractor. My back is good. My back is all good.
Did they tell you? Did they give you some intel?
They did. So basically, I was messed up. Like for all the stuff we've been doing over the years, traveling, setting up booths and stuff. My back has always been kind of iffy. And then if you remember earlier this year, LST, it went out. I had a back spasm, and I was able to fix it pretty quickly. I did a lot of intensive stretching and creams, and just really focused on getting loose to continue on with the weekend. So at LST, we go to set up Friday. I hurt myself, spend all day Friday working it out, get to Saturday, I'm in pretty good shape. That's how usually my back injuries go. Like, I have a spasm, my muscles tighten up, they tense up, so I take time, I stretch them back out, and everything's good. And I can usually do it in 3 or 4 days, a week at the worst. But this time, when I heard it, just I was messed up for over a month because we went out to Tennessee. We did that work, which was a lot of bending over. It was we talked about that in a previous episode, just exactly how many trucks were there and they all needed to be filmed. And so it was a lot of bending over, adjusting camera adjustments and filming and doing this and literally running around.
Yeah.
So it was really intense. And then I realized what really sent me over was that Sunday after we were done, and Angie and I, stayed in Nashville for the day and hung out. And then we flew out later that evening. We spent all day walking around downtown Nashville. I was wearing a backpack with basically my luggage, and I was carrying around everywhere on my back. And I think that was the one key difference, because I'm used to filming and doing all this stuff, and I've been doing it a long time. But I think that one was the difference. So then, as the people who listen know, I missed the Mini Truck Revival show because my back was out. I got through the Day to Remember show, the 30-year get together. I was in better shape, but still pretty messed up.
Yeah.
So I finally went to the chiropractor, and they took X-rays, and my spine was like this. It was curved, and for our listeners, what I'm describing is it start right at my tailbone. It would go straight up, and I don't know the numbers and all that of the vertebrae and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it basically shot to the left and then went up. So I think a lot of people noticed that I was kind of crooked the whole time. At the A Day to Remember show, I'm sure you noticed that I was crooked.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh no, yeah.
No.
I was crooked. You would look at me from behind, and I was crooked. I still am a little crooked, I guess. That's because the chiropractor also told me, it's you got a little bit of scoliosis in there too. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. So he took an X-ray, and then he fucking just popped me like two good pops, and it was like it was pretty instantaneous. Like I was like, oh, like relief, you know?
Yeah.
And then so I went to that. That was the first appointment. I went to another appointment where he did another adjustment, and I've got about 2-ish more appointments, because basically the way he describes it is my spine was has probably been jacked up like this for a long time, but whatever situation happened really put stress on it. So he keeps on popping it back in place, but my muscles are so used to it being that configuration that they're trying to push it back. You know, so I'm like training my muscles that like, no, it's supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
But I'm back, and good pun, huh? I'm back.
So it's funny because I mean you've always like gone to the doctor quite a bit and stuff, but you never went to a doctor for your back.
Yeah,
like
I'm pretty proactive with my health, going to the doctor and stuff, and you know, just kind of being really attentive to my health and my body and stuff. But yeah, I never, because I was always scared of chiropractors. Like you hear all those horror stories, you know. And that's funny because he asked me that specific question. He's all, I guess I was telling him my concerns and stuff, which I really liked about this guy. He was like listening to everything I had to say, rather than like just like, all right, you know, get the hell out of here. You know, he was like pretty attentive to what I was saying. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure you've like watched YouTube videos on chiropractors. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, the bad ones. And I'm like, yeah. He's all, don't worry.
There's good and bad in every profession. It's like dentists. You know what I mean? There's like,
yeah, some people are terrified. I don't mind the dentist. I'm pretty chill with the dentist.
Dentists are it's a very scammy industry.
It is. Oh, dude, it is.
Just like chiropractors.
It is. But it's a very like business driven industry.
Yeah, but if you find one that's a really good one, then it goes the thing. But it's funny. I was listening to our lifestyle podcast yesterday, and Jeff Davey was on there from Devious Customs. And he had a very traumatic health scare recently.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to drinking. He gave up drinking completely because he ended up in the hospital.
Wow.
And
from complications from drinking too much?
Just from not being healthy.
Oh, I see.
And so I don't know if I know Jeff decently well, but he likes to party. You know what I mean? And for him to like he went on this podcast. It's a very heartfelt. Like,
and this is on Ballard's OLP?
This is on Ballard. Yeah. You should listen to it. It's
yeah, definitely.
It's like a really heartfelt thing. Like, go get yourself checked out. We're getting to an age where it's okay to slow down. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to do this stuff anymore.
Right.
And it hit home with me big time. You know what I mean? And I was like, because I think if I would have kept doing what I was doing, it would have affected me like very negatively, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like, if anyone's out there listening, like go listen to that episode. It was really good.
Yeah, definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, this goes back to like same thing with you. Like you didn't give the attention to what your body was seeking.
Exactly.
Like your body was telling you like, hey man, something's up.
Yeah. Go.
And you're like, no, I'll take care of it at my house.
Yeah, I know, and I try like, and that was the thing. I was like listening to, you know, I appreciate everybody who gave me advice, but I was just trying everything, and I just got to that point where I need some sort of, you know, intervention to get this done, and it was needed because, like you said, I'm sitting here trying to, you know, do it one way, and it's like, no, it's you need someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it actually, so I was like trying to figure it out. So we were talking and he's all like, well, how do you think you hurt it? And I was like, well, I started having back spasms in 2011. But I had a pretty severe motorcycle accident in 2005. It's like, oh, he's like, that's it. I was like, even though that happened in 2005 and, you know, I really didn't start having problems until 2011. He's like, yeah, he's like, problems like you're having take decades to like really start to bother you. He's like, you know, when I got in my accident, I was like 24 years old. So my body was just like, man, whatever, you know?
Yeah, and that again goes back to us thinking we know more than experts.
Right.
You know, like, no, these people do this for a living. And if you got to find a good one to kind of get you through it instead of just like patching you up with medication or whatever, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. So like even the chiropractor was like, because I told him, you know, because a lot of people said, you included, you said, go to the doctor. Well, the doctor's just going to be like, Oh, you're in pain. Okay, here's some meds. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
but you don't. That's the thing. You don't know that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because you could have gone to a bad chiropractor and he would have just did bad things.
That's true.
So it's the same thing. And the only reason that I say that is because I worked for a hospital with a very good back doctor. And basically our whole fourth floor was back. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the difference is you have to go to like a specialized person, rather than just some.
Well, yeah, you got to go to. It's just like if you had something wrong with your throat, you're not going to go to like you're going to go to an ENT.
Yeah.
If you have something wrong with your whatever, you're going to go to a specialized. Like you have your regular doctors, but then you have to go to a specialized doctor in order to get that looked at.
Yeah. But I did, and I'm back. It's good. I don't know why I keep saying that, but yeah.
The back pun. I never even put. I'm back.
No, but I'm happy. I'm excited to still like get out there, do what I want to do. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that this because if I've had this problem for a really long time and I've never really fixed the root cause of the problem, I'm hoping now that I don't. Because I'm still, even when I'm still feeling good, I'm still kind of like limited in what I'm doing because I've had back problems for so long, and I've been like kind of like nursing it along, so to speak. So I'm really hoping that this like opens me up to being like even better,
Oh yeah. I was gonna even mention like if you go down, like say you didn't take care of this and you just kept trying to self heal and you kept getting worse, like that could throw you into some big time depression.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
like you missed the mini truck show in LA,
Mm-hmm.
and then you saw me go,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, oh, I can't do this, and you see your friends doing more and more and more, and you're like, that, like you could just, like, it just kind of goes back to like you guys got to take care of things when they need to be taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that was my back adventure, and then like I said, I went on vacation. Spent a few days in Carlsbad. That's our spot down like North County, San Diego. And then I got to check out. So I went to this show called with this group called Glass Spells, and it's like a new wave synth goth band. It's a guy and a girl, but then I guess when they play live, it's a trio because they have like a drummer. And so it was a great show. It was at this at Barrio Logan, in downtown San Diego, underneath the bridge. I think Joey took you there one time. He took you to Barrio Dog.
Oh yeah,
the lowrider place. So that area in downtown San Diego is called Chicano Park, and it's actually like, did Joey tell you about like his family history down there? How his dad owned the upholstery shop and stuff. So like he's pretty deeply rooted in that area, and so it's just this area in downtown that's very like heavily Chicano culture, lowrider culture. They do a lot of cruising there. They do a lot of like shows and stuff. So the area is really cool. And the club that I saw this group in was called Corazon de Barrio, which is the heart of the barrio. So the venue was really neat. Joey was supposed to go with me. His wife, his wife needed some attention and his kid, which completely understandable. So he couldn't go. So I called in the second string, called in Henry from the club. I told him that too, because Joey, I saw Joey at the Date of the Remember show, and because I had hit him up before, I said, hey man, do you want to go check out this show with me? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, cool. So I bought the tickets, and then I saw him, up at Date to Remember, and he's told me, he's like, hey, life is life, and I said, I completely understand that.
Oh, he told you way back at the Date to Remember show.
Yeah, he said like I'm probably there might be a chance I can't go because of these circumstances, and I was like, oh, okay, no problem. And then I saw Henry. I was like, "You're from San Diego," and I said, I was like,
that just sounds like an adventure that could be a very spontaneous adventure. Like it's not like you're not leaving the country type thing. You know what I mean? Like you're just going down the street to see a show.
No, I know, yeah. And Henry lives right around the corner from this place, and I told him, I said, not that I'm saying that you're like second string or the second choice, but you are. So hey, man, you want to go?
We all know our place.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So he went with us. He met us there, and it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of funny because, like, on this podcast, I talk a lot about going to punk shows and music shows and stuff. So this was kind of something a little different because it was like a new wave goth kind of thing. And Andrew went with me, of course. And then we met Henry there. Well, there was only like two groups that played that night. That was Glass Spells, which was the headliner. And then this other group, they're called Twin Engine Ion. And it's two dudes. And it's like one guy with a bass and then one guy singing and then a bunch of like synthesized sounds. They were not good. They were not good at all. You could barely hear the guy singing. Like goth, the new wave is slow anyway, so it's like slow. I'm like looking at the crowd, people are yawning, and I could look over at Angie and Henry, and they're both kind of like, you know. But then the Glass Spells came on, and they kicked ass, and they were really cool, high energy, really good music, and and Angie and Henry had a really good time. And then afterwards, we're like walking back to the truck, and I told Angie, I was like, I bet you thought like, what did I get myself into? This is gonna suck. Because of the first group, and she's like, yeah. She's like, they were bad. I said, Glass Spells turned it around, and she's like, yeah, it was really cool. So
that's cool.
It was a great adventure. Yeah, and then that was my last week, and you were at a different event last weekend.
Yeah, that was something else,
dude.
It was like. And you could have gone, by the way, because you didn't leave your house until like Sunday. I was paying attention.
Yes, I realized. Well, I realized that. I did realize that, but I don't know. I was just kind of close.
You missed
everything.
it.
Dude, I had serious FOMO. I was like, I knew sitting at home watching everybody's stories and stuff that I was gonna have FOMO, but I did.
Sometimes you just got to be spontaneous and just come out and do things, because you would. It was a lot of fun. It was Joe's first time back at a show since that show last year. Great. So he was dusting off of his rust, like getting the gears loose again, trying to figure things out. Get back in the groove, and yeah, it was just cool. We left here Will came out from our club on Wednesday, and then we woke up
with his C10.
Yep, brought his truck, and we went down on Thursday. And he just parked in Joe had given him a top truck chip. So top truck chip. So he was parked right across from the booth. And
what are those top truck chips for those who don't really know?
Is there 100? So Dino gives out like poker chips. And there's an area in the middle of the vendors. And if you have one of those chips, you get to park there.
Right.
So, and this year, usually Dino gives them out himself. But this year, he gave 10 to Joe, 10 to Ronnie, 10 to John Oro.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of was like, it mixes it up a little bit. Because everyone has their taste of which type of C10 they like.
And Will C10 is definitely like the vibe that Joe and you kind of, and us, that's our vibe.
Yeah, because he cut his truck to the rocker. You know what I mean? Like you see all the other trucks, and you look at his, and you're like, there's something different about his.
It lays flat.
It lays flat on the ground.
Yeah.
So that's the mini trucker in Will, But yeah, and then we got all set up, and then went to the Trey 5 open house, which that was packed. And then I had to sit so I had Chupas fly in to help me film.
I saw, yeah.
But he didn't land until almost 11:30 that night on Thursday.
On Thursday, okay.
So I couldn't leave the open house, which was over at like 9, and drive all the way home. And then, because it's 30 minutes the opposite way of the airport. So I just kind of hung out, and then we just drove to the airport. Didn't get home until like 1:30 in the morning.
Wow, and then you had to be at the show bright and early Friday morning.
Yeah, I think we got down there at 7.
Wow.
So it was, and then it was just nonstop. It was like on Thursday, I remember telling someone, I said, this is the start of the blur of these types of events, because there's so much going on, and the time is the same. Like time goes by just as slow or as fast as anything else. But with those type of events, you get to the end and you're like, what even happened?
Yeah. Oh, I know. LST, mini nats, those are the same kind of feeling.
Yep. I was sitting in eye candy at the open house on Thursday night, and Jason Bell comes walking through the door.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's just so crazy with that how many people that Dino's brings in now, like across the entire spectrum of, there had to have been 30 Relaxed Atmosphere members there.
Oh, cool.
Just all kinds of stuff. So
that's cool. Well, because the Dino's Gitdown it's a Chevy. I think it maybe gets a slight misconception as a C10 only event, which it's a Chevy truck event, at least for Friday.
They try to keep it older Chevys, at least.
Well, older is in 98.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like in terms of when I think, well, I can't say for other people, but when I think of a C10, I automatically think of that 67. Was it that body?
67, 72.
Yeah, that body style, like that just sticks in my head. You know, sometimes the earlier ones, and of course the square bodies, but that sticks in my head. So yes, it's a older Chevy truck centric show, but a 98 OBS is an old Chevy truck. You know,
and it also there's no C10 in the title.
That's right.
It's Dino's Chevy only Gitdown.
That's true. That's a very, very good point.
You know, so
is that
you
what
had
they call is that what they call the Mandela effect?
like we think like we just like put words.
Yeah,
in
we
things?
just think of stuff like it's Dino's C10 Chevy Gitdown, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, but regardless, it was a really good. Luckily, I flew Chupas in there.
Yeah, that's pretty good
because. We were sitting at Day to Remember, and Kim was like, "Oh yeah, we're not going next weekend," and I was like, "I didn't even think about this.
Yeah,
like I did not even think about all this." So at that time, I already known Chupas was going to fly in, but I'm like, "Okay, well, I can run the booth while Chupas films," and I was like, "But there's certain things that Chupas doesn't meet that we do differently, and I need to make sure that I get these things." So, and then Patty and Danny were like, "Yeah, we're coming."
Oh, cool.
And then Danny, they both got sick or something. So like
I was going to ask that because I did not see them in the background or anything.
So they did not come.
Oh,
luckily Erica and Jose came, and Erica's kids, and Erica and her oldest daughter ran that booth. I'm going to say mostly Erica's oldest daughter ran that booth.
Nice.
She basically told me like I was doing something. She goes, "Move." like there was a point where she was like, "I got this," and I was like,
"That's cool." Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really. It was a good time. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to someone today, and I was like, without like Kim and Patty and Erica and then back in the day, you know, Holly and then Lindsay. Sometimes I don't even know what I would do.
I know it is.
And
interesting.
now I'm starting to think of that for LST. I'm like, what am I going to do?
And to make literally, it's so funny you say that because literally 10 minutes ago, me and Andrew were talking, I'm like, I don't need you to come out. We got it.
Well, I'm bringing Chupas out for that one too. We already got his plane ticket.
Okay. Well, to film, but I mean, it's like far as running the booth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll figure that out too.
Oh, is she not going?
That's what I said. She said, well, because we might be getting into some like softball thing that's going to take up more time. And she's like, well, you know, I really can't go to these. And I was like, oh, well, I think we got to figure it out. The way we have the booth set up now, you know, with the way we have the tables and the bodies and stuff. Like
you might want to start thinking about getting someone to help you work at the booth though.
Okay.
Because even me, I'm going to find someone to help me work the booth because Chupas is going to go out there and he's going to help me film a little bit, but he's also going to help film reels for LST.
Oh, for Lonnie.
So so he'll mostly be filming reels and some for me. So I still need to do my part to film the show.
Right.
So now I'm like, okay, well, I need to find someone to help me work the booth.
That's a good point. Angie's listening to this right now. She's like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. We'll see.
But all you got to do is just find someone and say, hey, I'll give you $100 to help me work the booth for the weekend.
That's true.
And you only need to do it for if you think about it, for on your side of things, like you're gone, you could probably film that whole show if you were gone 3 hours each day. Mm-hmm. So if you said, hey, someone come and work the booth from like 11 to 2.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like reach out to.
Well, maybe people listening might be like, hey, I got some time. I don't know.
Then that's the only thing is you don't want just anyone in there.
That's true. Just get some random people. Some random dude is like, yeah, man, I'll take care of your stuff completely. No problem.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't make any money.
Cash? Oh.
Yeah. And it's not even it's not even the money part of things. It's when we get these people, have people work the booth, they have to be a certain way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. They definitely have to have a vibe.
So if someone ever volunteers to work the booth and we don't pick you up on that, don't take it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, back to
Dino's. I have a couple questions.
Back to Dino's.
Starting with the Tray 5 get together.
Yeah.
What was the reception to Mike's Suburban on the ground?
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh. I was just curious because did people? I was really curious. Did people know that it was just a body sitting on the ground with wheel stuff under it?
If you just like walk by it, you couldn't tell because the windows were
Right.
black and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I was just kind of that just was funny to me because you had sent me a picture there. You're like, hey, check out Mike's Suburban. And it was like stock. And you're like, and then now this is this afternoon and it was laid out on the wheels. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And what they had only did was pull the frame out and trim it up to stuff those wheels under again on the ground.
They just wanted it for the open house.
Which is really cool because you can see it and you can visualize it. But I was also wondering, do you think it might have taken away from the when it's stock and then they start working on it and then that first time they lay it on the ground and it's laid out? Do you think it's kind of robbed it of it a little bit? A little bit,
but at the same time, they're building that's a full custom chassis. It's not just like a GSI chassis or where where everything's going to bolt. Like they needed to do that anyways. To kind of see where things are going to land and stuff.
And it looks so killer.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Those wheels. Mike has really good taste in wheels. Those wheels are killer, and it just it's so long.
Yeah,
it's a very long vehicle. That was really cool. And then so to kind of marry to that into Dino's, did everybody dig the new shirt, the cat shirt? What are you calling it? The cat shirt, the AZ truck shirt?
Yeah, It was eye-opening for me.
Eye-opening for how many people liked it?
For how many people bought it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really cool.
Well, it sold out. And
Yeah.
I ordered a lot of t-shirts. That's the most t-shirts I've ever ordered. And so the original plan for that shirt was just order it for Dino's and then be done.
And then a couple days ago, you were, and that's what I thought. And then a couple days ago, you were like, "Oh, okay, I'm printing more of these. Get ready." And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Brandon, and here's the reason. So that shirt originally had the stadium in the background, the artwork, and I said, take that off because I might just run these longer than I need to. So it's like a balance of making them for these events, but also making them to where you can sell them down the road. So just talking to a couple people that talking to Brandon and stuff, there's a certain number that I want to hit now with these shirts to make them make sense.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just because after you pay for the artwork and after you pay for the t-shirts, if you only make X amount of number, your profit is only a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to I'm just trying to target more, you know what I mean? So
we've often talked about the mentality and how we're going to grow and what we're going to shift into and the next thing. That's a real, because a lot of the times that when we are thinking about shirts and designing shirts, we're thinking one or two color, low quantities. Maybe subconsciously you broke that into thinking like that. You're now I'm going to invest in more expensive artwork. I'm going to invest in more shirts because that's the next thing that you want to do.
I'm just investing, not necessarily more expensive artwork, because the artwork wasn't too bad at all. More or less not being scared of going back to back and ordering, way more t-shirts and just but what I think just opened my eyes was the amount of people that were coming up and buying these other shop owners, people that usually don't buy this stuff. So I'm okay, I finally figured out something cool. Not saying that my shirts before weren't cool, but it's oh, now I kind of unlocked my thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. In your brain, you unlock something in your brain to get into that next thing.
Yeah. And why? Just because I make videos, I make YouTube videos and I take and I do photography for a living. I'm not really a brand. I'm not really a merchandise brand. And so I've always been trying to figure out what can I do that's different, you know what I mean? And so going to that Blink-182 concert and following all those artists and following the way that their art director curated all this stuff and all these things, I was oh, and it worked. So now I'm just we're already on 2 or 3 more of those
designs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's just send me your ideas, send me everything for the next one.
Cool.
So I'm oh, I figured it out. Now
That's awesome.
you know, and you know who actually had this idea a long time ago, and I never listened to him, was Low Life Mike. He was like, you have all these characters, these people in your videos. He's like, you utilize that, and it never clicked in my brain. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, doing another run.
That's cool. P.S. Like to go into detail about it, your new shirt is a square body C10, and there are two characters in it that are skeletons, and one is you and one is Mike.
Which goes to like Dino's, right? Because me and Mike do. So now when I go to do the next one, it'll be like who's involved with that show,
right?
Or like,
yeah.
For example, like Mini Nats. Like Mini Nats is me and you bombing out to North Carolina, so you can kind of see where that's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And then like the gang for LST, like Joe and Morgan, Lindsay, like the gang.
This is funny because I was actually getting my stuff ready to send over for the LST drawing, and I was like, I wonder who's going to be mad that they're not on these shirts now.
Oh, and now I look, man, I'm not going to be offended if I'm not on any of these shirts.
I'm just saying, it's be like, you know what I mean? Some of you like, hey, I was part of the crew.
Hey, like, hold on,
where am I
Wait
at?
a minute.
Yeah. But here's a funny thing. Back to Dino's and doing the booth last minute. So here I took everything to Dino's. I did not leave anything at my house. I took every single overstock and all that stuff because I knew come Friday morning I did not want to try to drive into there and drop anything else off like I had to last year. And so last minute I have a plastic shelf that was it sits in the trailer, and I take it out when I load it for stuff. I was like, I'm going to take this shelf. This could be cool inside the booth. That was the best idea of the entire weekend.
Really?
This shelf, 5-tier shelf, got so much stuff off of the ground, and instantly, like, we just bungee tied it to the thing.
So instead of like bending over digging through totes,
well, no, we still bent over digging through totes. That
okay.
was just stuff though. Like we had our like on the bottom shelf was like a 24 pack of waters, and then we had the the Jackery type electrical box sitting on the top. We had Morgan took over. She ended up taking over 2 rows, but like, yeah, like her purse was sitting on it, and like it just took the little miscellaneous things.
The ones where we're like looking for stuff, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm taking this to every show now because it's super light and it can be taken apart real quick. And I was like, oh, so just certain little things that you learn, you know, along the way.
No, for sure. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, and little stuff like that. Sometimes you do little stuff, and you're like, why? I've been doing this for so long. Why didn't I think of that kind of thing? I
know. And you always think like you got it, and then you're like, oh no, I don't have it. You look at other people's booths, you're like, they have it. They've got their crap down. What's wrong with me? I've been doing this so long.
Right.
So, and then someone from Australia, I don't know his name, but he brought me some candy that I like.
Cool.
The crunchy candy and some other stuff and some Vegemite, and like there's people from Germany that came up, and people from Australia and Sweden, Canada. Like it's almost hard to explain exactly the scale of this event. I saw something that said that it was 9,000 trucks, but you said that might have been a little ambitious, like maybe not that many. I don't know how they count because they don't charge. He doesn't charge for parking. He doesn't charge spectators. He doesn't charge show parking.
Which is like, that's something all by itself.
Yeah. When was the last time you went anywhere and they didn't charge you to park your car in the spectator lot?
Right.
Like, that's crazy. So, and then they had it. So like, remember Roland last year was kind of a mess. This year on the backside of the stadium, remember how we used to do our show at Lake Paris where we had lines? So they had lines of people. So everything went really smooth. They had a bunch of food trucks. Like it was a lot more polished.
Yeah.
You know?
So like last year it was last year the first year of the stadium, or that was the second year of the stadium?
It was the first year at the stadium.
Okay. Yeah. So last year being the first year of the stadium, and I went that year, and I was telling myself, I'm like, dang, this thing is like so big and so intense. Like, if this was the last, like if this is the only one I went to, I could say that like that was a pretty, intense experience. This one was bigger and better than that.
It was, yeah, because you remember where the RV show was on the other side of that grass area? That was like pretty much full of trucks too.
Oh, really? Like, I guess would you call them show trucks? Like,
Yeah, that just I don't even know what you call them because you've
yeah,
got.
because like, yeah,
It's not a show. It's just trucks. We'll just call them trucks. Like,
yeah.
not your stock truck. Like, you don't. People weren't taking their like stock new NVS Chevys in there. You know what I mean? They were C10s or OBSs or something cool. So yeah, like, yeah, it was intense. And then the vendors this time went from the freeway all the way to that road out in the front.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just nuts.
So now filming the event was it overwhelming?
So bringing Chupas out there made it not overwhelming.
Okay.
But still overwhelming at the same time. But then I had to think about it. I'm like, I have to stop being so stressed out about filming because I just work myself up when I know that I don't need to. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
And then Mike was out there with doing his Mike on the mic thing, and
I was gonna ask that. Like, I don't think you have to reveal it here, but did you figure out a good question to ask?
we did. And,
okay, cool.
and there's going to be like bonus footage that we film later at the end that coincides with that footage.
Nice.
And I haven't even seen his footage yet. I'm actually going to his house here in a little bit, but so hopefully I get it because I want to see it. But he was like interviewing the people that were parking and just random people, and then he had a golf cart out there.
I saw his panty dropper.
That guy.
I saw that. That's cool.
He's insane. Oh, and you know Herrera, right? Herrera Trucking. So we're at the open house, and this bus pulls up, and we're like, you know, one of those big party buses, but a big party bus. And all these people get off, and they just walk into Tray 5, and they're all waiting to use the bathroom.
Oh, really?
So Herrera flew 26 of his family members out.
Dang.
And rented this party bus, and just toted them around in the party bus.
I saw some stuff from that. That's really cool. Yeah, that guy does it up. That guy has some. Yeah, you know all of his trucks, right? That he has some nice trucks.
Nice trucks, and just a good dude, and just.
Oh, totally cool. I met him at Slow last year, a couple years ago. Yeah.
And just gets down, man. Is so funny.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great. But yeah, Mike's golf cart that he picked up is an H3 replica golf cart, which he then had wrapped for, I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but Eastbound and Down, or no, is that what the show's called? Eastbound and Down?
I think I always mess it up, but
I always mess it up too, but it's the Kenny Powers show. Yeah. And then he has that jet ski. It says panty dropper.
So, you know
that's what Mike's thing looks like.
So you know that Suburban that is his grandfather's Suburban, or was. He brought his grandfather to see it for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Before the open house. And then his grandma sees the golf cart and was like, "What's the party dropper?"
The party
is that the
grandma?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it, grandma. That's the party dropper. Come over here. Look at the truck.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I wish I could split myself in half at Dino's and do it from both sides, from the booth side, the filming side, and then also from just the spectator side. It almost needs to be 3 full days. Like, it almost needs to be all day Friday, all day Saturday, and half day Sunday. The only reason they don't do it is because of football game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a monster it's turned into. Like a good monster, of course, but a monster nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean, to give a little bit of background, maybe some of the people listening don't even know about this stuff, because Dino's Gitdown started at his house.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was looking at some old footage the other night of drone footage of when it was at the appliance store, which is the first one I went to. And then you look at it now, and it hasn't been that long to turn into this. No, it hasn't. You know, and we learned with Oro on the podcast that the entire C10 thing hasn't been around that long.
Right. It's only within the last 10-ish years, really.
So it really follows Dino.
Yeah, it does.
And the Gitdown, and then everything else that spawned from it. So if you think about it,
I'll let you finish. Even Joe's brand C10 Vatos, was born out of Dino's Gitdown. Yeah.
So that goes back to that. Think of the economy that Dino started. Like how much money. I mean, chassis companies.
That's what I was just thinking. I was thinking of all the chassis companies, and now Scott Nelson is launching his own chassis company, which, if you think about it, has something to do with all that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
I wonder if there wasn't a Dino and there wasn't a Dino's Gitdown. I think it still would have happened in some sort of way, because the trucks are what all these guys grew up on Chevy trucks. Mm-hmm. That's like we talked about before. They didn't grow up on 57 Chevy cars and 40 Fords and all that stuff. So their truck is their hot rod. Like what other vehicle would this happen to? It wouldn't.
Right.
You know, like the next hot rod would be
Civics.
I mean, even those, but it's just not the same size. It's not the same.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, because the Civics, although were fast and race car-y and stuff like that, they didn't. I don't. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say, and I'm trying to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they're not very customizable. Like a truck is more custom. It's more. You can make it more personable. Like you can only drop. No, you could say that about C10s too, because I was gonna say like you can only drop like a B series motor in a Civic, and then that's sort of it. But I mean, really,
no, there's a lot in that Civic world that you could do, that we just don't know about. You know, like
I think we're not familiar. Maybe that's the biggest thing. We're just not familiar with it.
Yeah, but they're like, what show has that many Hondas at it? Is there a show out there? Am I missing something? I know there's Hot Import Nights. There's those types of shows, but like what other culture, what other scene, what other vehicle attracts, well, just say 6,000 trucks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like what?
Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just had a thought, because you're saying that like the basis, like when you talk about guys, the guys building those trucks now is because the trucks they grew up with, it's the trucks that their dads had, you know, that I think that might be the missing component in the Civic world, is the Civic world was still kind of like you didn't get your dad's Civic, you know, you got your dad's C10. Like
that's
when you
because your dad didn't use the Civic for work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where it correlates kind of into the mini truck world too.
Yeah. Yep.
You know? Yeah. I think that's probably might be the missing component.
Yeah, because the truck was the thing that you got handed down when you were 16.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like your dad didn't give you his Civic. He gave you his old work truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
And they can be cool without putting a lot of money into them.
Mm-hmm.
Like
definitely.
You see an old C10 just dropped on whatever wheels, you know what I mean? Like it's still a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about how it's kind of, you know, it's gotten saturated and all that stuff, but take the C10 out of the C10 show and driving on the freeway, it's still a cool thing to see. You're like, oh, cool, that's cool, or that's cool, you know? So
yeah. And in any way too, like you said, it could be an older truck just dropped on wheels, it could be a full build. Like there's such a wide like gambit, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, but the monster that Dino's is and where it's come from is really cool, and just the personable part of it too with Dino. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things to see is when the trucks are rolling in and he's out there in those lines saying what's up to everybody.
Yeah, like
that sort of sets the tone through the entire event. Yeah, you know, it's very Dino centric, but it's not that. It's very Dino-centric, but it's he is a big part of it. I guess.
But it's not all about him. It's not all about him.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is it's not. He's like, I'm Dino. Look at me, what I can do. It's all like, hey, come check out and hang out with me at my event. I'm really glad you're here. Hey, thanks for coming. You know, that kind of thing.
And he gave away 3 engines that I think were meant like they were offered to him for his builds from companies, and he just passed them on.
That's cool.
You know, like. One of them was like an LT4, which is like a $25,000 engine or something like that. Like, yeah, you're right. It's not all about Dino. In so many shows, it's like a competition. It's like the biggest, the this, the that, and it's just like if you're throwing a show, the show will grow itself as long as the atmosphere is good. Mm-hmm. You know, and yeah,
our to kind of like blow smoke up our own butts. That's like how like our show is.
Yeah,
like we're not out there to throw the biggest event. We're not out there to be a mini Nats.
Yeah,
you know, we're out there, and that's not to say that mini Nats is trying to do something else either.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that like we're not out there to do that, but our event is really good and people like it and people keep coming back.
Well, it's I guess when you're saying the mini Nats thing, we're not out there to compete with mini Nats. where
exactly.
where you have some other C10 shows that they just want to compete with the other C10 show.
Oh, okay.
And but numbers wise, or bragging about this or that, and it's just like every show is different. Every show has their benefits, and then some shows. I mean, look at Mini Nats. Their benefit of Mini Nats versus Forbidden is the cruising in the town. We don't have that at Forbidden, but it doesn't make the show better than Forbidden. It
just offers its own neat thing.
Own unique
which
thing.
Is we had a question a long time ago from someone that says like, what makes you want to go to a show? And that was sort of like the conclusion we came to is like, we're not looking for any specific thing. We're just looking for something that makes that event unique and fun. And fun to go to. Yeah.
Like LST, the uniqueness about LST is like either the variety of trucks, how massive the crowds are. It's like it just represents Texas. It's just this big. It's just this.
It is
huge thing of huge things. Like and then Mini Nats with the town and the being more mini truck centric, and then Forbidden. You have the hotel and the pool,
the resort, the resorty kind of atmosphere. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. And then even down to like the smaller things like Dockweiler and the new thing that Vic put together, like. Those are very small scale things, but they're very unique in their own way, Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that like, I think, like Vic's event, he's gonna have people coming from far away to try to go to that event, which is gonna be unique in his situation because he's got it, like it's literally confined to space. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting how he navigates through that next phase of what he's building. Yeah,
and I think that's a big thing is when if you want to throw a show, you don't need to compete. Just don't look at other shows and compete. Look at other shows for, what's it called?
Inspiration.
Look at other shows for inspiration, and then see what your location offers, and then just put your own twist on things.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice. That's really great advice. I was distracted because Angie was leaving. So like,
I kept seeing people walk back.
Did you notice me kind of like a little like looking everywhere?
I saw people in the back.
Yeah, and Angie was in and out, and the car's moving, cars starting, and I need to build a studio where it's all like completely like I just locked the door. I don't even know what's happening outside.
I know that's that studio you keep talking about.
I know. I'm gonna build it. It will. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
No, you have to say it will happen, or else it won't.
That's true. What was that? Just like speak it into existence kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Just every day say, this is what I'm working. This is going to happen. Because if you don't, it just won't. And you'll constantly make excuses to why. Yeah, but if you're just like, we make fun of like hustle culture and all that stuff. But there is a tad.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is based in some sort of reality that is good advice. It's just when it starts getting conflated and like a little scammy, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's when it gets a little out of control. But no, it's definitely rooted in good advice. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Just and like, but the true way to implement it is exactly like how you're implementing it with your shirt designs and shirt sales and stuff. It's not like you're out there screaming like how to do it or telling someone how to do it. You just sort of like, and subconsciously you put it all together and it starts happening.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I want it so bad, I try to figure out how to make it happen. And my personality is I don't want to wait now. Like if I have an idea and if I wait too long, that idea goes away. I have to do it now.
You just got to execute it. We kind of said that. That's sort of how this like podcast came about. That's sort of how, pat myself on the back, how like the teasers, I got better at making the teasers is you just start implementing things. You just start doing it.
You just do it. And you're like, I have to do this. Like this, there's no other choice because if I don't do this, then I don't. And it's just whatever. So
no,
that's
cool.
Yeah, it's like what I did with the Nissan and what I'm doing with the Tacoma. It's just like I'm doing it, and there's no other way. Like if I don't do it, it just goes away. Like if I just those ideas, if you don't do them, those ideas will just go away, and you'll be like, I'll just move on to the next one.
Exactly. Yeah, or not even move on to the next one. Just not do anything. Just sit there and just keep hoping. I guess. But so did you finish your new Tacoma update video?
I did.
You did? I was kind of hoping you would upload it before we start recording so I could watch it and we could talk about it.
Oh, I know.
But I guess we got to talk about that next week.
Yeah, well, it's going to go up it's probably go up tomorrow.
Okay.
Is it already 4:00?
No, it's only 3:00 here.
No. I'm going to that cruise night, that sunset cruise night.
Oh, you are? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
I'm trying
awesome.
to, figure out. I got to start going to things.
Yeah,
so when
I know.
I get the truck driving, like I'll just be like kind of slide right in.
Yeah. That's cool. No, that's great.
Yeah. So it's done, and it's just mostly me talking over a bunch of footage that Alan got.
Oh, cool.
So he did a bunch of time lapse stuff, and it's just me talking about, and then it's over some of the 30-year footage because I took stuff with my phone, and then I updated the bumper.
I saw that looks really good.
And I pushed it out in the driveway and did some beauty shots of it.
Yeah, nice.
And now it's back in the garage waiting for Panda to tell me when to bring it back down.
That's cool. Yeah, Panda's got some good stuff cooking. He's working on Carl's dually right now. That thing is super cool.
It's like it's so beefy because Panda, he's just like, I like working on mini trucks because there's no, like, you don't have to do anything like, oh, I'm going to tow with this or I'm going to do this. It's just a simple thing, but with Carl's, it's like, no, this is going to have like a 1,000 foot-pound torque diesel engine going through this chassis, and it's going to tow like a gooseneck.
Very purpose driven.
Very purpose driven. So you got to make sure that it's like all beefed up,
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to that one to come together. Looking forward to your truck coming together. My truck, I actually took it back to bio.
Oh, yeah. Did you pick it up on the way back or no?
No. They just have it. They'll let me know when it's ready. And to continue that saga, because everybody knows I got the gas tank fixed earlier this year, and so since I don't drive it that much, I haven't had that many opportunities to put gas in it, And then when I picked it up from them, I put some fuel in it and then drove it around and then got it down to empty and then filled it up again, and then so I never was really. It was always empty when I was filling it up. So when I took it up to A Day to Remember show, filled it up here, no problem, and then drove it up there. Well, it had about a half a tank of gas in it. And I go to put the thing in, I hit it, and it just goes, and it all comes pouring out of the truck. And I was like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
that's caused by not having like a vent tube, right?
I think it's a venting problem. I talked to Devin. We went over everything. And I think it's a venting issue because what's happening is the tank is like just building too much pressure and it's just spitting it back out and it doesn't have enough vent to alleviate it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, Devin and Tim are great. They're like, all right, well, we'll figure this out, because it also had the gas gauge something was up with the gas gauge. So, and I kind of didn't know when it was out of gas either. So
yeah,
a lot of gas. Dude, putting gas in that truck has been like the bane of my existence for like the last 10 years.
And it's one of those, this goes back to just getting things done. Joey's truck is going through the same thing with gas, and it takes him so long to get gas. And he's like, he started talking about this months before the 30th because he wanted to drive his truck up there. And he's like, well, I was like, Joey, just call someone and get it fixed. Yeah. Call Eric, call someone, figure it out now. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, no. If you don't do this now, you're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And your truck's just going to sit in the garage and you're going to keep piling stuff on it and keep piling stuff on it. Well, you're not going to enjoy it.
You've said it. We've talked about this before. We talk about it with our Titans and stuff. It's like you want to remove all of the, I guess the best way to put it is excuses. You want to remove all the excuses to drive it because that happened to me. Like when the gas was like really messed up, like I was like, I don't want to, dude, I got to get it out. And then I got to go put gas in it. It's such a pain. I was like, whatever. I won't take it. I'll take something else. Yeah. And now I'm doing that. I'm like, I gotta be able to pull this thing out, put gas in it and drive it and get to where I'm going and then not worry about anything.
Yeah. And so I'm doing that with the Tacoma already. I'm like trying to prevent excuses to drive it. And the one that I'm already seeing is like, I need to figure out, because this thing, when you put 20s on a Tacoma, you have to air it up really high to turn all the way. So like, I don't want to get to the end of this thing and go, I don't have enough air pressure to get up and I mess my fender up or make an excuse of like, this is just so hard to drive. So like, I have to figure that out because you have to air that thing up all the way for it to turn to clear the fenders. If there's a little bit gone, you're going to wreck those fenders.
Oh, sure.
So that's the thing I have to figure out with Panda. It's just like, hey, how do I, because that's why he put 18s back on his Tacoma.
Right. Yeah.
Because he said, I could drive all day long with the 20s. He goes, but you have to be mindful when you're going to go into a driveway or when you turn, you have to be mindful. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I alleviate that? Can I roll the fenders out just a little bit, just to,
or put 18s on it?
18s are too small for a Tacoma.
You're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm not going to go backwards.
Yeah.
Now I might have 18s, a set of 18s laying around just
Yeah.
if I wanted, because I was like actually looking at wheels the other night, and I was like, oh, I could have a different set of wheels, so I could throw them on there, and like it will be kind of two different. You know what I mean? Have a different look to it every now and then. And I was like, I could just get it, because that's what Panda did. He has those 18s. He's like, I'm going to keep the 20s, but I just threw the 18s on for more of a daily driver thing.
Yeah. I kind of
Not
like,
having to worry about it.
I think the 18s look really good on that truck.
They do,
those
but
style 18s, I guess.
oh yeah, they do for sure. But if you look at certain angles of that truck, the wheels look tiny now.
They do. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
And you always often talk about different proportions and stuff like that. And the proportions on your truck look really good with those wheels.
Yeah. So I fear if I go smaller, I would just won't be happy. So I'm like, and again, it goes back to you have to be happy, or else you're not gonna.
Yeah.
You want to drive it. So like, I know I could do it, and I think if I just bow the fenders out just a tad, and make sure that they're reinforced or something. There's got to be something to where it can get just enough to where.
Yeah.
I hit that
So
button
what's your next set of goals for that truck? Because it was the first goal was to get it to a day to remember for the 30th anniversary get together, and that was sort of like the driving force on getting it all done. So what's the next driving force that you think is gonna get you to the next part? Mini Nats?
No, Forbidden.
Oh, Forbidden. Okay. Oh, wow. Even closer.
Yeah. So I want it running and driving by Forbidden. Like I want to be able to drive it off of the trailer, drive it around, start it, stop it, like no weird quirks. You know what I mean? Where like it doesn't start, or I got to do this weird thing. And I want it to be like 100% solid.
Yeah.
Then it could go back to Alan. Well, it's probably going to go back. This is the thing. It's going to go back to Panda to get the firewall done.
And the floor.
And the floor and all that stuff. And the bed and all that stuff will be done. And then it'll probably come here, and then Tanner will do a bunch of wiring on it.
Get it running.
And get it running. And then it will probably go to Alan, because Alan has a guy there that does suspension and does all that stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
So he'll probably
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he'll probably do the brakes, because you know that Doug Wilson guy with the Tacoma with all the cards on it?
Yeah.
They did his brakes. So they just took his booster off and put a Willwood master cylinder.
Oh, nice.
And hard lined it all and stuff like that. And then you have manual brakes, so it's a little bit.
They're not power. When you do that kind of setup, they're not power brakes.
They're not power
so you
brakes.
Gotta get a little.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's probably people on here. I know Dean's S10. He has manual brakes and he's fine, but braking is super important.
Oh yeah.
So
Kinda.
I need. Yeah, and they. It's funny because my buddy was like, they sell electronic boosters.
I've seen those.
And I was like, oh, so I Googled it the other night. I was like, oh, it's $1,700. Not getting that.
Yeah, you're like, I guess they're just pushing a little harder.
Yeah. I'll just every time I push the brakes, I'm saving money.
Yeah, there you go. Until you were in someone and you're like, wish I would have spent that money.
I know, son of a
dude. Just a real quick story. Like, remember I told you the story the other day when I had the lug nuts changed and that tire, like I saw that tire flying and I was
yeah.
Dude, we were getting ready to leave to head to the show, the A Day to Remember show. Cruising down the road, person just pulls right out in front of me, dude. I was like, locked him up. Everything in the truck just flies forward. Yeah.
In your 4Runner?
The 4Runner.
See, if I would have manual brakes, I wonder if I'd.
That's what I'm saying. That's like, that's what. Yeah. Cruising around, you're mindful, but until you got to jam those bitches, Yeah. I don't know.
That's why I'm trying to figure the options out now.
Yeah, for sure.
And see what happens. So
that's cool. So Forbidden, running and driving. I should start setting goals like that for myself, because I realized I talked about this in the last episode about taking when I drove it up there to the A Day to Remember show. I forget how much I love that truck and how great it is and how nice it is, and I need to start setting goals like that for myself, which is namely the interior, because like the interior done on the truck.
But you already started with the gas.
Yeah.
You've already done that. Mm-hmm. You replaced the lug nuts, and yeah, you know what I mean. Like now. Honestly, little things like that, you don't realize it. I mean, it's just like when you did the seats in the Titan.
That's true, yeah.
It's just like, oh, this is like momentum.
Yeah. And speaking about the lug nut thing, our friend Bacon pointed out last week, because we started off last week's episode, we're like, oh, we're just knocking the rust off from doing all the guest episodes. He's like, you missed the perfect opportunity right there. So yeah, that would have been a funny joke. Yeah. Knocking the rust off, changing my rusty lug nuts.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's just one of those things, you know, like if you just constantly think about it and constantly make plans,
like we always talk about. Yeah.
Yep. And don't wait for people to reach out to you. Keep reaching out to them. That's a big thing.
That's a big thing too. That's a really big thing. Don't be afraid to reach out to them and find out.
Don't wait. Or also don't wait on. This goes to artwork, like we were talking about. Like,
yeah,
if you reach out to an artist and they don't reach back to you, and you reach back to them, and then they move on, it's just like, because then you're gonna go and you're gonna miss a show. And you're gonna miss this. It's just like, no, like you could be like, oh, I want this artwork done by Mini Nats. How do I get it done by Mini Nats?
Right. I thought you were gonna go a different route with that, because that just happened to me, because I hit up Rick the Dutch to get a design done. And I just dropped a message and he didn't respond. And I asked you, like, hey, you know, what's going on with this guy? And then you said, oh, you know, he's busy or whatever. And he finally got back to me. And now we're going down the right path. So I thought you were going to say, just like, if they don't respond right away, ask a couple more times, maybe a little more persistent. And
it's the same thing. But if you don't get the response you want.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Move on. That's why I keep sending you links to other artists that I'm finding, because like, there's no, like, we don't need to wait for one artist and then go to the next one.
You just have like a bunch of things going on.
A bunch of them. Yeah. Like, and like I want to do this because I've been kind of afraid to do it, or not afraid, but just like these artists that do stuff for these big bands. I want to reach out to them, but I'm so scared to them to go, I don't want to do your stupid truck art. I do art for Blink-182 or
yeah. Yeah, that's a legitimate thing.
You know what I mean? So I just stick to my truck guys that I know. But now I'm like, no, I'm just gonna ask them.
Yeah.
And if they say no, I remember one time I reached out to this automotive artist. He does 3D artwork for video games, really, really, really high up in the art world for automotive. And I was like, hey man, I want to get a shirt designed. You know, what's your thing? And then I went back and read on his profile, and he's like, don't ask me for t-shirt designs. I was like, oh, my bad.
Oh, I've ran into something similar, but I've ran into actually really nice people, because like that, I've done that a couple times too, maybe reached out of my zone a little bit, but the couple times I have done it, I've always been met with like pretty nice messages. Like, I hit up this guy and he's like, hey, so I really appreciate that you were like into my artwork and stuff. He's all, but I usually do stuff like this, or I don't really, and I got it, and it was real quick, and he was like, oh, cool, thanks for the response, kind of thing, you know.
It's like with Pinstripe Chris.
Like, that actually did happen with Pinstripe Chris one time. I hit him up. Chris is such a kind dude. Because like I actually hit him up one time and said, hey, I got these ideas. He's like, that's really cool. That's a really good idea. He's like, but, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got it.
But I mean, there's hundreds of artists out there.
Oh, thousands. There's like
thousands. Yeah. So you start just going down and you find the one guy that's like, oh, I'll do this, because maybe an artist that does the same similar stuff, he wants to do something different, and you might be the guy that landed on that guy at this. Like your paths might have crossed at the exact same time, and you get this amazing piece of art.
Well, Chris said it himself. Now that it popped up in my head, and when we interviewed, if we didn't interview him, but when we talked with him. That's one thing he said. He's like, there are younger guys or other people out there who are more than willing to do that stuff. And you should go seek those people, because they're really excited to make it and they really want to make it.
Or even people that are in the same level as he is, but are doing not automotive art. And then they're getting burnt out on what they're doing.
Right.
And all of a sudden this message comes into their inbox, and it's this totally different thing that they haven't been doing. And they're like, yeah, I want to try this for sure.
And that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I'm not, and I'm not saying that I'm like burnt out on what I do, but it does. Like, that's why I find,
well, that's okay to be burnt out though, because I was burnt out on what I was doing.
Yeah.
It's like totally like, not saying that not saying that either of our shirts or our designs were bad, but you get to a point where you're like, I can't think of anything else.
Right. Or like I'm saying, like when we make videos and stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that, that's just how the whole process works, I guess. But,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got your Rolling the Red Rocks video up too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Did I not have that up when we spoke last time? I don't think so. No, I didn't.
You put it up that Monday, I think.
That's right.
Or right around Dino's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got that all done. It was a good one to put together. It was another one of those that was definitely a little bit different than what I normally do. It wasn't very vlog heavy. It was more just sort of like music and truck, centric.
And you were kind of went back and forth from show to rolling, show to rolling.
How do you feel that worked out? Did that work out good? Because like
it's kind of the way I was going to put mine together. And then I watched yours. I'm all.
All right. Oh.
Mine's going to be the exact. You were literally filming the rolling shots in front of me filming the rolling shots.
I know. That's what happened.
So I started putting my rolling shots together. I'm like,
yeah.
I got to change mine up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be very similar. But yeah, same. I don't know what it is with that show.
Yeah. You want to know what it is? It's by the time we get to that show, we've done LST, we've done our show, we've done mini nats. And whatever else little things that kind of fill in those gaps. I mean,
yeah,
I don't want to say that we're burnt by the time we get there, but it's sort of like we're at the end of May is sort of like when things start petering off. Yeah. And to be 100% honest with you, it's reflected in my video. And that's why I was kind of beating around the bush a little bit. And if Graham is listening, like it wasn't that I didn't put effort into it, because I did. It was just, I was sort of like out of ideas when you get to that point. You know what I mean?
And remember, we missed so much of it.
We did. We missed the limbo. Yeah. Which makes up a big part of like when I make videos, like I put a lot of limbo stuff in there. Cause like had I not missed the limbo, I would have cut to the limbo more and not use those rolling shots more early on. I would use the limbo stuff more early on. But I mean, it all worked out. But also what it does is I'm very happy with that video. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad people are enjoying it. And a lot of people are enjoying it actually. But it makes me motivated to make something better next year at that show. Like now I know in my head, I'm like, I'm going to make a really good, not that I wasn't making that effort before, Graham. I'm going to make an extra effort next year to really create something nice.
What are we going to do at Mini Nats? We made the same type of videos every year.
And that's the other thing. Here we are. Well, I haven't talked to Glenn in a while, but there was some talk between me and him about getting the 4Runner out there. There was some talk about maybe getting the Tacoma out there. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll work out as we sit and talk more throughout these next couple months.
I know I saw Jason and I was like, hey man, if I message you and be like, I have can I bring like I want to put a truck in my booth. And he was like, yeah, just hit me up.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering the same thing.
So,
because it's going to be very like, if it all does work out, either one, the Tacoma or the 4Runner or whatever, it is going to be one of those things where it's going to be like a few weeks before we're like, okay, this all works out. We're going to do it.
Well, the Accord got accepted, so they're taking that.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
So they're taking that, and then I was talking to Lindsay. I was like, are you doing LST? Are you doing mini? She's like, I'm doing mini nats. She got a booth.
Oh, okay. So
regardless of anything,
it's not going to be Mavi time.
It's not going to be Mavi time.
It's going to be titty time.
Yeah.
It's titty time, baby.
It's going to be titty time.
Hey, I don't know with the way little inside baseball right here, but Angie and I have been talking a lot about picking up something new. So maybe it might be a Tacoma or a Tundra. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be breaking yours new one in. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Until Angie's like, hell no, that's a brand new truck. Go get in your.
I will never drive my Maverick across country again.
Well, we talked about that. We talked about that. How you were like, oh, this is a lot of miles.
I'm like, oh, this is great, but I don't want that to turn into something old.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
I'm like, I will just pay the gas and take my Titan because it's meant for it, especially if something happens, like something hits it, or I don't know. It's just like,
I thought about that. I was like, what about if I go out and buy like a brand new Tundra, bomb it across the country, and it like gets dinged? You already know how I get. Now imagine having a brand new truck.
Oh my God, Will was loading his truck up. Will is he has a lot of anxiety about everything. He's a very worrisome person. He's very like, he just wants to make sure everything's going really well. You know what I mean? Like,
understandable. Yeah.
Right. So we get home really late. After Dino's, we went over to Joe's and hung out for a while. He had taco people over there and everything.
Yeah.
So we get home and it's like 9:00 at night and he goes to load his truck up and everything gets it all strapped down. Everything's good. And then he goes, oh, where's my sunglasses? And he like looking around, he goes, oh, they're in my C10. So he gets up on the trailer fender, bends over in his C10 and forgets he has his knife in his pocket and scratched the holy crap out of his door.
Wow. How'd that go?
Yeah. Oh, no, it was in the morning when we were leaving because I had to take Chupas to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning. And Will was leaving at that time, and I was just like, ooh. All right, man, see you later.
Yeah, I know. Like,
you got the whole drive home. He said the whole drive home, he's just got to think about that.
Yeah. Oh, I know, man. We're very similar in that. Yeah, that's me.
Well, it's just all of us. We just, none of us have a ton of money to like fix things like that. Mm-hmm. So we have to be very careful. It's just like, I don't know.
That's why we're going to bomb the old titty back out to Mini Nats.
We're going to have these brand new trucks and we're just still going to be driving the Titan.
That's kind of the thing. Like, if you think about it, it's a little bit of a insurance, like good feeling. Cause like, let's say I got a brand new truck. We still decide to take the titty out there and we go and it blows up. You're like, oh, I got a brand new one at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like, fuck this thing. That's what I'm going to do. If that truck ever like catastrophically fails out on the road, I'm just going to be like, screw it.
Just light it on fire.
Just leave it and then just rent a truck and come home. Seriously, I think that's the move.
Not me. I'm keeping my Titan forever.
Like, I know.
See, I did the opposite of what you're doing. I did not want to buy a new half-ton truck or 3/4-ton truck to tow with because I have one already.
Right. No, yeah.
I wanted to buy something that made more sense driving around town.
That's sort of, we're in very similar situations, and that may happen. I don't know what's going to happen. We are going to go to the dealerships next weekend.
The Tacomas aren't there yet, though, are they?
Well, the 2024 gas ones are there, not the hybrids.
Oh, the gas Tacomas are there?
Uh-huh. Yeah, the dealerships have 2024s.
I didn't think any of them did yet.
Their website says so. I don't know. I could be reading it wrong. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
I don't think they're at dealers yet.
Oh. What did I read? Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We're just going to go poke around, see what happens.
You know what happens when you poke around at a dealer.
Yeah, I know. Those dudes, they're like, hey, guys.
Yeah, and they're wanting to sell trucks now, so they're like,
yeah,
and they have inventory now.
They have a bunch. Do you follow the guy from Utah? He lives in I think it's Park City or something like that. But his whole channel is just going to dealerships, seeing what they have in stock, seeing the markups, and just really just kind of getting the weeds of what's going on. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know the name of his channel. If I find it again, I'll send it to you. It's pretty insightful. He just basically does like weekly videos or whatever, like just kind of showing what stock they have, what stuff is going for, how like the stock is growing. You know, a few months ago there was nothing. Now there are rows and rows and rows of trucks. So
yeah. So here's a word of advice for anyone going to buy a vehicle ever: do not get anything they offer in financing. No gap insurance, nothing. Oh. Especially now, because gap insurance is cool if your truck's not worth it, but all these trucks are still worth a lot of money.
Oh.
And insurance companies go off market value. They don't go off anything else. So like, if my Maverick ever gets totaled, they're not going to give me, like, I'm going to get more money than, you know what I mean? It's going to go off market value.
Right.
And you can get gap insurance through your insurance.
Oh, you don't need to get through the dealership.
No. And then you cancel it. Cause if you get it through the dealership, they're going to rip you off. They're going to say, oh, it's $2 extra a month. Look on your invoice. They're going to charge you $1,000 for it.
Oh, I see.
You got to pay interest on that $1,000 and payments on that $1,000. If you get it through your insurance, you just pay it until your truck's leveled off what you owe.
Yeah.
And then you cancel it.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, because when you sign for the gap insurance, it's the length of the loan.
It's the length of the loan.
It's okay. It's good advice.
And it's man, I learned so much in the last, like, buying these last few vehicles and like paying attention to these people on YouTube and like, it's just insane the amount of what they rip you off for in that finance office.
And that's the thing now with all that. There's just so much information out there that you really shouldn't not know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough information out there. Like, you should have a pretty good idea what's going on before you. And
extended warranties can be bought from the dealer after the purchase of the truck.
Oh, really?
All the way up until the warranty is up. So, like, when my warranty is coming up on the Maverick, I'm just going to go buy an extended warranty from the actual dealer.
I see.
So you
don't need to get it at time of purchase.
Don't need to get it at time of purchase, and you can pay cash for it, and so you're not paying interest on it. So like
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So like but you have to buy it from the dealer before the warranty expires. After the warranty expires, then you're buying one of those third-party warranties.
Oh.
So once the Maverick hits up 60,000 miles, which I think it's 60,000 on the powertrain, at like 59,000 miles, I'll just go buy a warranty for $1,000 up to whatever,
Yeah. Cool. Good advice. Well, maybe we'll do a whole episode on new car buying.
Oh, we should film going to buy your new truck.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Go into the finance with our cameras and be like, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. They think they're like on some like gotcha like news thing or something. They're
Yeah.
like, oh no. Cool.
What else?
That's it. That's all I got. We'll save the rest for next week.
Yes. Well, you're not coming to Severed.
I'm not coming. Oh yeah, I was gonna to say that I'm not coming to Severed. I got another kid thing going on. My kid's in a play, so I got to be here for that. Which is kind of. I was really looking forward to that, But that's just the way it goes.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I already told Joe, so Joe knows.
I like how you told him in the group.
I know, and he's like, yeah, whatever.
He's like, whatever. He already thanked all the people coming like yesterday and didn't put you on the list.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, well then, no, it worked out good.
I forgot. Yeah. What else is? Oh, our next giveaway.
Oh, are we announcing it here right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. AccuAir.
Yes.
We're doing another AccuAir setup
giveaway. Those are the
that
best.
We just got to figure out when we're going to start it. We're probably doing it to kick off the year again.
Okay, yeah, we could do that. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. That kind of good. I had a great Dwight idea, but that changes it, but that's okay.
Yeah, because we're already into the end of November.
Yeah.
We could start it December 1st, but it wouldn't be over until.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we start it December 1st and then we'll do it like maybe the end of January or something.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll go December to January.
Okay, that sounds good because now my idea will work. I got a really cool idea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, AccuAir giveaway.
AccuAir giveaway.
Is it the same thing?
Same thing, yeah.
Same thing, which was the E-level controller and correct? Am I right?
I'm so unfamiliar with these things.
It's basically everything except for the valve block.
Yes.
Yes. There you go.
Is they call it the switch speed?
Yeah. No. The block by itself is the switch speed, but this is the E-level. So it's AccuAir E-level kit, everything minus the valve. We'll have more info. We're just announcing that we're giving away an AccuAir.
You have AccuAir on your truck. I don't. So
yeah,
I don't know anything about it. I know what it does, and I know everything about it. I just don't know the terms for what comes in which kit.
And it's changed because mine's really old. My AccuAir is pushing 9 years old now.
Yeah,
and it still works great. I've never.
You don't drive your truck.
Well, I mean, collectively, it works.
Like my tires have no wear on them. It's so weird.
They don't. I looked at that the other day. I'm like, yeah, these tires still look brand new.
You're still supposed to replace them.
No, I know. Well, no, I've replaced them since then.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
But anyway,
all right.
AccuAir giveaway. We'll have more info. We'll do some stuff. Anyway.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.